Hi everyone, my name is Tuan,
And my name is John.
and today we'll be focusing on Niger's underlying crisis. So Niger, officially the Republic of Niger, is a Western African country and it is named after the Niger River that runs through its country. It is naturally divided into three zones: a desert zone in the north, an intermediate zone in the middle where nomadic pastoralists can raise their cattle, and a cultivated zone in the south where the majority of the population resides. To the west of the country lies a 350-mile-long river that crosses directly through its territory, called the Niger River. It has a main drainage system that consists of the Niger River Basin to the west and the basin of Lake Chad to the east. The soil also falls into three regions: the Sahara region in the north, where the land is infertile; the Sahel region in the middle, where there is a thin layer of salt deposit from intense evaporation that causes the soil to also be infertile; and the soil in the cultivated region in the south, where rich and fertile soil can sometimes be found. The northern two-thirds of the country can be best described as a dry tropical desert, and the southern region experiences a Sahelian climate, which means that it has a single short rainy season. And Niger is listed as one of the hottest regions in the world, with a low of about 108 degrees to a high of 113 degrees in the hottest month of the year, and temperatures drastically dropping down to freezing temperatures in the night during the nighttime.
The Republic of Niger was founded on the 18th of December, 1958, after there was a majority of people voting yes when the territories of French West Africa and French Equatorial Africa were given the right to hold a referendum on their membership in the French community. It would be until the 11th of July 1960 that Niger officially was given independence from France, that the Republic officially became a landlocked country in Western Africa. Given its relative status as one of the countless developing countries in West Africa, it has failed to see some meaningful development and progression with its many problems that continue to ravage this country to this day. Issues with political instability, failing to modernize the country, and continued use of slavery despite its ban in 2003 have led it to be regarded as one of the world's least developed nations in terms of wealth, ability to produce food, and lack of access to technology.
So we as a group have decided to target the rampant issue that is of the lasting effects of oil spills in Niger. The country of Niger is notoriously known for having one of the most polluted places on earth, with decades of oil spills having damaged the environment and devastating lives of the region. As a result of constant issues, pipeline corrosion, maintenance issues, equipment failures, sabotage, and theft, it has given way for oil spills to remain very destructive. And Shell and Eni are the two biggest contributors to the oil spill issues present in Niger. Since 2011, Shell and Eni have spilled a combined total of 21.7 million liters of oil, which is equivalent to 9 Olympic swimming pools, into the Niger River. And the reason why this is so important is because oil spills have two major effects on humans and wildlife: fouling or oiling, which is when the crude oils have a physical effects on animals and wildlife, and also oil toxicity, which is when intensive and extensive exposures to these toxic levels of crude oils is fatal for human beings.
Our solution. Knowledge of the still in development technique that by using enzymes to trap specific chemicals in the water to reduce the amount of pollutant, it is quite capable to use recombinant DNA to our advantage to address this issue. Recombinant DNA can be modified to manipulate the cells into creating enzymes that would trap these chemicals as they pass through the water basins of Niger. Once experiments prove that the enzymes created by the recombinant DNA are successful in trapping and breaking down these chemicals, we're able to mass produce them and install them into the basins of the Niger River or Lake Chad.
Another method that we can use is called biomarkers, and biomarkers is basically a way to measure and detect high levels of anything that is programmed to detect. We can often see the usage of biomarkers during our routinely visit to the doctors where we take our measurements, such as taking our blood pressure or body weight. And we can implement microorganisms to be used as biomarkers because it is reproducible, sensitive, simple, and fast. And the same principles can be applied to the development of these biomarkers. We can modify the DNA in an animal cell to turn into recombinant DNA, in charge of coding for the creation of biomarkers that have specific reactions and can detect toxic levels of pollutant within the human body. And the results of these biomarkers will allow for early detection of toxicity and essentially saving lives of those who are affected by the extensive exposure of crude oil before it is too late. But why biotech? So one of the main current methods of dealing with spilled oil is the oil booms and skimmers. And these methods are effective in containing spilled oil, but still has a probability of affecting the wildlife around it. For example, fish can accidentally swim towards the crude oil and become contaminated or even die. And birds can still accidentally drink the water and eat the fish that are contaminated. The oil can also be absorbed into the feathers of the birds and can essentially render it useless for flight. The oil will then cause the wings of the birds to be water repellent and make it impossible to be removed and impossible for the birds to clean slash rid itself of the oil. With the implementation of enzyme-based water treatment, we can essentially eradicate crude oil before it has a profound effect on nearby wildlife and humans, hopefully preventing damage to the ecosystem and its fauna.
With crude and petroleum having a lasting effect on the environment and its wildlife inhabitants, the problem of oil spills becomes more profound. The natural order of the food cycle comes into play, with the understanding that fish that are exposed to oil generally experience reduced growth, large livers, changes in heart and respiration rates, fin erosion, and reproduction impairment. A way of biomagnification, it is then that the toxins will build up within the systems with predators consuming prey who have had come into contact with the oil. By way of bioaccumulation, in which an organism absorbs a substance at a rate faster than that at which that substance is being lost or eliminated, the presence of toxins continue to linger on through animals preying on other animals, eventually making way to humans catching these fish, eating them, and harboring these hazardous effects of the oil. Through the use of microorganisms as biomarkers, it is quite possible to measure the intensity of toxins within the body as it approaches dangerous levels, providing for early detection of these issues in order to prevent the oils from having a greater toll on the human body, as well as monitoring the progress of the toxins over time.
And for those students who are interested in lending a hand, there are a few careers that they can look into. One being a molecular geneticist. And molecular geneticists work in labs and study the roles of genetics in medicine. They study genes to research and diagnose various diseases and disorders. Daily, uh, molecular geneticists work with patient samples and analyze their genes to determine risk of genetic diseases and develop new methods for treating these genetic diseases and disorders. To work in a molecular genetics, a bachelor's, master's, or doctoral degree must be earned in molecular genetics. An entry-level position for molecular genetics technologist typically only requires a bachelor's, but with additional education and experience, people can specialize in other areas. And and their annual salary ranges anywhere between 32,000 and to 163,000, with a median annual salary of being roughly $95,000 per year.
Another career is the clinical microbiologist. Clinical microbiologists undertake scientific research into microorganisms with the aim of identifying new ways of diagnosing and preventing infectious diseases. They monitor and analyze microbial cultures and samples using specialist computer software and a range of identification methods in clinical trials. As a clinical microbiologist, one will need at least a bachelor's degree in microbiology or a closely related program that offers substantial coursework in microbiology, such as biochemistry or cell biology. Annually, clinical microbiologists can earn anywhere ranging from $53,000 or to $103,000 per year. The median annual salary for a clinical microbiologist being anywhere approximately $72,000 per year.
To summarize, crude oil spills have significant effects on the ecosystem surrounding the Republic of Niger. Wildlife, food, and water are dramatically affected by these oil spills, and recent cleanup methods are simply not enough to mitigate the damages. With the help of biotechnology, we can hopefully eradicate the issue of oil spills by modifying DNA to program enzymes that can essentially break down the pollutants in the crude oils or the use of biomarkers to help detect early toxic levels before it is too late. And there are many ways that an individual can contribute to this rising problem in Niger. Careers for interested students such as general geneticists and clinical microbiologists who can help treat the issue of the crude oil and save lives. Thank you.